one night at a prayer and worship service called Fan the Flame, like totally like late 90s, early 2000s name, but I was worshiping and the Lord just hit me with a vision, and I was standing in front of a group of young people. I argued with the Lord that night about it and just couldn't shake it. Ended up being called into youth ministry, saw great youth revival take place, but again, didn't necessarily want to be a lead pastor. About 2010 though, I really started to feel a call to possibly plant a church. And we knew we wanted to do it in the Southern California, San Diego region. So we flew down, we drove around, looked, prayed, but again, just didn't feel the release to do so. Ended up taking on a staff position at a great church in the area, North Coast Church, and was a young adult pastor there for a number of years. But around 2016, that call just kept gnawing at me. And honestly, planting a church scared me to death, and I wanted to do everything else but. So I explored taking over different churches, large, small, didn't matter. I just was, okay, I know it's time for me to lead. I was communicating with my lead pastors, and they were praying with me, and we were talking through all of it. And then we actually got a really good offer in a really beautiful area of California to take over a church, great potential, own their own building, like all the things that you would want. But when I thought about leaving the city I was living in, Oceanside, my heart hurt. I just couldn't do it. I went to my lead pastor. I feel like I'm supposed to actually plant a church because I'm supposed to be in this area. And he was like, Jeff, we love you, we're behind you, let's do this. So that was a good long time. It wasn't about until 2019 that we actually decided to start full on going for it. So 2019, we spent that year working at the church I was currently at and exploring church planting, working with ARC, going to trainings, watching all the videos, meeting with every single pastor I could. So we launched our church January 12th, 2020. Perfect timing. We were able to meet for 8 weeks and then had to shut down for 3 months. We were completely online. And as somebody who just launched the church, having a few support staff, I was scared to death. I didn't know who was still a part of our church. We didn't have a long enough time to really develop that base in that community. So we did everything we could as far as commenting on social media, reaching out to them, emailing people, calling all of our database, just to let them know that we were here and we wanted to do whatever we could to support them. So while we were shut down, we reached out to local schools, we gathered groceries, we helped out families that were in need. And as we started to re-engage in in-person meetings, we did so very cautiously because again, we couldn't afford the fines that a lot of the churches were paying. We were able to fly under the radar a little bit, but we were also able to do it again too because we knew Oceanside and we knew that we wanted to support the local community. And so because we were supporting the local community supported us. We gave gift cards out to our people from local restaurants, local surf shops, all of it, everything we could do to support the businesses. And then in turn, they supported us. We were able to do an event called Bless Local, which we still do to this day, with a large support of our local businesses because again, we were supporting them and we were giving back to the community and helping people. So that's one of the things that really helped us survive, was not being inward focused of how are we going to be able to weather this, but how can we help our community weather this? Pastoring for me, especially in Oceanside, it looks differently. I really consider myself a pastor to the community, not just to my church. And one of the most important things I think for any pastor would be that you have to love people more than you love a pulpit. One of the things I hear a lot from pastors or church planners is, man, they want to preach, or man, they want to teach. And so they're looking for a platform. And it's really about the people. And so as I cruise around Oceanside and get coffee at different shops and meet with different business leaders and whatnot in my community, I'm looking at them as they're my people. They're the people I love, they're the people I'm laying down my life for, whether they attend Rhythm Church or not. This is what I'm in for. And honestly too, when you ingrain yourself into the community that you're in, it's great accountability, because there are so many times, for me, I love to surf, and every once in a while, if somebody blows surf etiquette, it can get you a little bit upset. And whenever I'm tempted to get upset, get angry, someone always paddles over to me and goes, hey, you're that one pastor guy, or hey, I've been to your church before. And I love it because it keeps me accountable, it keeps me humble, and it always reminds me of my purpose. So we chose Oceanside, one, again, because my heart was so knitted to the community. I absolutely love that city. It's the third largest city in San Diego County, but it's also incredibly local. It has people that have grown up there. There's local businesses. There's certain local neighborhoods that you can and can't go into. It's got everything. It's got the pretty, it's got the gritty, and everything in between. And so to be able to get into a city that has all different social economic levels, all different races, ethnicities, it's a blast, because you're in this melting pot of community that you don't really find anywhere else. One of the hard things about our city right now, in all honesty, is gentrification. It's like Oceanside's the last coastal community that's sort of affordable. And so a lot of our local people, again, Oceanside being very local, are being priced out. They're having to move further east. And these are people that have grown up there. Families have grown up there for years and years and years, and they can no longer afford to be there. And so we do what we can as a church to provide for those people, whether it's school supplies, backpacks, food, clothes, groceries, whatever we can. We're trying to really reach into those non-reached areas of our city and not just preach the gospel, but really show them the gospel, that we love them and we care for them and we're about it. We have rampant homelessness, and so again, we don't think as a church that it's our job to meet every need. We don't have to start brand new ministries, but we look for the ministries and the organizations in our community that they're already doing something for, especially stuff like homelessness. And those are ministries that we partner with, give to, serve at, so on and so forth. Because I think wherever you plant, you have to believe that that is the greatest city in the continental US or Hawaii or Alaska or the world, wherever it is that you're going to plant. Because again, if you offered me a mansion in, let's say, Hawaii, I'd take it, but I'd also live in Oceanside as well. So every city has a culture. You have to understand the context of your city. You got to understand the culture of your city. And sometimes people move into a city or they parachute into an area thinking that they've got it dialed. And I think it's massively important to get in and sit in the coffee shops, in the barber shops, in the restaurants, walk in the parks, and really get to know your area and how it operates. Again, because every city has its own deal. If it's a brand new city, you can help form that. But in something, and especially for us in Oceanside, it's very established and it's very local. And so there are certain people that we want to get permissions from in order to do certain things, certain events, so on and so forth. And so I would say one of the most important things is don't just come in thinking you're going to be the thing that changes the city and is the greatest thing ever for the city, but go in understanding, I want to know the culture of the city, I want to understand the context, and I want to partner with the other Christians, the other great churches in the area in order to see the gospel advanced. So everyone leads differently. So again, understanding how you lead, it's important that you establish a culture out of who you are as a leader. For me, I'm not good at a lot of stuff. So I have to get as many talented people around me as possible. So I want to establish a very empowering leadership culture. And again, I think for most church planners, you're gonna need this as well too, because if you try to do everything yourself, you're gonna burn out real quick. Maybe, you might be able to push it for 5 years, but after that, man, it's gonna suck. So empowering the people around me, believing in them, seeing who they can and will be, helping them develop their talents and their gifts, doing whatever I can to resource that, whether they're with us for a year or 2 years or 5 years, understanding that it's not just about sowing into your dream in your church, but you're really sowing into the kingdom when you're developing other leaders around you. So I'd say empower leaders, develop leaders, believe in leaders.